Hello, hello, and welcome back to Break the Clutter Cycle with the Maximizing Mama, the private podcast series dedicated to helping you understand why your house keeps getting cluttered despite all the organizing tips, the cleaning methods, and the routines that you've tried. The clutter cycle is a repetitive pattern of organizing, cleaning, and decluttering only to have the clutter and the mess keep coming back. It's driven by quick fixes that don't address the deeper issues like your lifestyle, your habits, or a lack of the right systems, and it leaves you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and stressed. In the last episode, we talked about phase 2 of the clutter cycle, which is when you try to organize your home as a quick fix to all the clutter. And today we're diving into what phase 3 of the clutter cycle looks like and why this happens. Now, as a reminder, this is a cycle, so these phases are meant to be sequential. However, not everyone will relate to following each of the phases in the exact order that I'm describing them in. You may actually jump around, but I wanted to explain it this way because in the 4 years that I have been helping women declutter their homes, and in the 16 years that I've been studying clutter, the majority of people who are struggling with clutter, they usually follow this cycle in this specific order that the episodes are being released in. So just keep in mind that the cycle that I'm laying out here for you of starting with feeling overwhelmed to getting organized as a quick fix to the clutter coming back to you end up rage cleaning, you might actually kind of jump around. So maybe you feel overwhelmed and you start with rage cleaning and then you move on to organizing. But for the most part, you should resonate with each individual phase, and the habits and the behaviors and patterns are likely showing up for you in your home. Now let's go ahead and dive in. In phase 2, the organizing phase, what happens is you know that your house is cluttered. So you're following along with advice from professional organizers by trying to organize your home. Maybe you're organizing and decluttering at the same time, or maybe you're just buying baskets and bins to contain all of your things, or maybe you're trying to rearrange your stuff to try to make it look more tidy. And even though this all seems like very logical solutions, because pro organizers, after all, they do say to declutter and organize at the same time. They do say that organizing is the solution to get a clean and tidy home. Even though they say that, the truth is that organizing will never work because professional organizers help people who just want to be more organized. So they may just need to get rid of a few things. The whole point of professional organizing is to organize what you have. And in the process, in the last 20 years, pro organizers have learned that it is extremely beneficial to edit or let go of or declutter things along the way during the organizing process. So during that time, over the last 20 years, when our homes became more and more filled with material items, people started to take what pro organizers were saying and they were putting that same advice for the homes that were very cluttered because it seems one and the same, organizing and decluttering. If pro organizers talk about decluttering and your home has clutter and you need to let go of it, it seems that you should just do what they say to do. But if you have a lot of excess stuff, if you have more stuff than will reasonably fit in your house, then getting rid of a few things here and there is not nearly enough. The sheer volume of items will exceed the storage or the space that you have available, making it hard to keep things organized in the long term. And even though when you get organized, your house may look organized for a short period of time, organizing doesn't solve the root problem of having too much stuff. And as another side note, you may have heard me mention this before, we continue to buy stuff and bring new items in our homes, and we will continue to do so for the rest of our lives. So if you have too much stuff in your home right now and you're not decluttering enough, you're not getting rid of enough stuff, and then you continue to bring more stuff into your home over the next 10 or 20 years, just imagine trying to find space for all of that stuff. The fact is, you must learn how to let go of the excess stuff now. And very quickly, before we move on, I want to speak to the people whose homes are not overflowing because I was there at the beginning of my decluttering and organizing journey. I actually spoke about this in the last episode of when I was trying to get organized. My house wasn't that full, but there was just stuff left out all the time. And I didn't realize that we just had more stuff than we had space for. So therefore, nobody was talking on Pinterest, which was my main social media platform back then in 2016. Nobody was talking on Pinterest about how I could benefit from decluttering. I thought that decluttering was for people whose homes were bursting at the seams, whose homes were hoarder level. I thought it didn't apply to me because I didn't really have piles of clutter. But that's the whole point, and what I'm trying to help you recognize and really become aware of is that if there's not room to put stuff in your house, if there's clutter that's just getting left out all the time, the fact is you have too much stuff and we need to let go of some of it. Now, that does not mean you have to become a minimalist. I am not a minimalist and I never will be, but the whole goal of this podcast and our subsequent masterclass and a brand new program that's coming over Black Friday is to help you live a clutter-free lifestyle where you're able to keep your house free of clutter for the long term. Now, with that said, if you want to lead a minimalist lifestyle, if you want to have a minimalist home, you are more than welcome to do that. I just want to point out that you don't necessarily have to. So, all of this to say, what I'm saying here, this will apply to you even if your home is not overflowing with stuff. The main thing to remember is that if you have a lot of stuff left out throughout your house, you have too much clutter. And the second phase of the clutter cycle, getting organized, it's never going to work. So if you resonate with the clutter cycle, if you resonate with the clutter coming back again and again, that is a sign that organizing will never work and you simply need to clear away the excess stuff as well as overhaul the homeless items, which we're going to get into at a later time. But what I've found is that most people are trying to organize, they're trying to contain their stuff because they're unaware that they need to let go of some of their belongings. If that's you, if you're focused on rearranging or trying to store what you have as opposed to actually decluttering and letting go of anything, the clutter is just organized into bins and drawers and closets, and it creates a false sense of control where all that stuff is out of sight, but it's still present, and that makes it easy for it to come back quickly. When you have not properly decluttered first before you try to organize, when you still have too much stuff in your home, all those baskets and bins will quickly fill up and you'll be left with organized clutter that still feels overwhelming. And then, before you know it, the clutter will creep back out. All those things will get left out and your house will get messy and cluttered all over again. This is happening, one, because you have too much stuff, but the reason why the clutter is coming back again and again is likely because of your lifestyle. Your lifestyle could mean any number of things, like your daily habits that cause the clutter in the first place, like not putting things away, leaving mail or papers out, or just letting things pile up. Or your lifestyle could also include new purchases, like we were just talking about. This could be gifts, impulse buys, kids' toys, or seasonal items or decorations. Because if you don't have a strategy for maintenance decluttering, then the influx of new items just adds to the clutter and it just makes it worse. Or your lifestyle may leave you with the mindset of more is better, where you're holding on to things just in case, or believing that more stuff equals more security, and that just keeps the clutter cycle going. So on that note, I want to speak to that for just a second. The part of my brand name, maximizing, that actually came on the one hand because I was learning how to maximize my time as a mom of four with swollen legs, but I also really identified with the term maximalism, which is the opposite of minimalism. It is a concept that more is more, that more is better. And that's because my entire life I resonated with just having more stuff, more posters on my wall as a teenager, more sentimental items to remind me of my past, more bows for my baby girl's hair, more shoes, more purses. It's something that maximalism is a design term, but it can really be carried over to our homes and our households in general. And so, this mindset of more is better is something that a lot of people can identify with who end up subsequently struggling with clutter. And this really relates back to your lifestyle. It's something that started when we were likely in our childhood or our teenage years. And then as we became adults, we just led to this belief that more stuff equals more security. So if you can resonate with that, you're definitely not alone. Like I said, it's part of your lifestyle, and we're going to be talking at a later time about how to break out of this. Now, the last thing I want to mention about your lifestyle leading to the clutter coming back all over again could be family dynamics. That could be a big cause. If your partner or your kids are not on board, they might leave things out and not put things back where they belong, or they might even bring new stuff into your house. And that makes the common living spaces harder to keep organized because there's not a collective effort. So, whichever one of these align more with your specific household, what happens is there's something that is causing the clutter to just creep back out, even after you've got organized. And then the counters start to overflow again with unopened mail, school papers, grocery bags, and random things that need put away because it's just a convenient landing spot. Or kids' toys can take over the living room because the organizing system that you put in place wasn't made to handle a huge volume of toys. And your kids aren't always going to put things back where they belong, so that leaves the toys just piling up in your main living spaces. Then the kitchen table is covered with random stuff, and it becomes a catch all for papers, craft supplies, homework, and just random things, which means you can't sit down for a single meal without having to clean off your table multiple times a day. In the bedroom, man, that becomes a dumping ground for books, clothes, shoes, and half finished projects. Things that don't have a place anywhere else in your home often end up in your room, turning it into a storage space instead of a relaxing space. And as a side note, the reason why your bedroom becomes a dumping ground storage space is because you put your self respect last behind everyone and everything else in your house. And that is also something we're going to be breaking down in our upcoming program that's coming for Black Friday. But another way that the clutter can come back is in your hallways and your staircases. They become a magnet for clutter and start to collect things like bags and laundry baskets and shoes and basically any item that's waiting to be put away. This is what I call everyday messes. They're piling up here in the hallways and staircases, so you're always tripping over something. Then, when every room in your house is cluttered all over again, it kind of seems pointless, right? So you end up leaving clothes piled up on chairs and floors or draped over doorknobs. And if the physical eyesore of the clutter wasn't enough, when you're in this phase 3 of the clutter cycle and your house gets cluttered all over again, it can cause sensory overload, where your environment feels chaotic and stressful, and you can't walk through your house without the constant reminder of everything that needs to be done. And forget having people come over. You're embarrassed for your neighbors to even knock on the door. And all those Pinterest perfect homes, they have you wishing that you could keep your house tidy like everyone else. Oh, and the never ending decisions like what to wear, what to cook, or what to clean up first. That is decision fatigue that happens when you have way too much visual stimuli and it's overloading your prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that is responsible for decision making. And it can lead you right back to the overwhelmed paralysis mindset in phase 1. Plus, your productivity struggles because when you're surrounded by stuff, when you're surrounded by clutter, it's harder to focus on anything. You waste so much time trying to find things like missing keys, important papers, or your glasses, or your phone. And the mental weight alone will drag you down because clutter feels heavy. It's weighing on your mind and making you stressed. So you're lying awake in bed at night, unable to fall asleep, thinking about all the things you need to do around your house. And here's the thing, when you're really stressed like this, you end up frustrated. So you're snapping at your kids to clean up after themselves, or you end up throwing a bunch of stuff out, which is actually the next phase in the clutter cycle. So, up until now, you've realized that your house was cluttered and that you needed to do something about it. At first, in phase one, you were pretty overwhelmed and stuck in a paralysis from not knowing where to start, and that is very common. But eventually, you decided that you needed to do something, anything, to get your house under control. So, you bought some baskets and some bins and you started organizing your stuff. And you thought that would help because that's what the professional organizers do, and it works so well for them. But the clutter just came back, and now your house is a total wreck all over again. So now you're stressed, you're frustrated, you're fed up, and you're sick and tired of living this way. Which brings us to phase four, the rage cleaning phase. That is what we're covering in the next episode. So that's all for today, my friend. In the very next episode, we're diving into phase four of the clutter cycle, the rage cleaning phase. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes because remember, this podcast series is only available for a limited time. Also, as another note, I would love to offer you something special. If you can leave a review on your platform of choice, Spotify or Apple, leave a review. Take a screenshot and send it to me. You can send me a DM on Instagram or you can email me at nicole@themaximizingmama.com. Just send me a screenshot of your review, and in turn, I will gift you a free coaching call where we can dive into a personalized plan to help you break out of the clutter cycle in your specific home. I would love to support you with this. So leave a review on Spotify or Apple, send it to me, and then we will go from there and we'll book your call. All right, I hope you have a great day. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our new episodes, and I'll talk to you soon.